Hi there, my name is Juan, and in this video I want to share my thoughts and ideas about working with Vim. If you're interested or you already use Vim, I assume that you have a passion for improving and optimizing your workflows. To take our text editing to the next level, we should start defining our goals so we can keep improving in that direction. It's a good practice to idealize when defining goals. Aim for the stars, and if we fail, at least we will land on the moon. So for me, what I would ideally love to achieve when editing text is summarized very well in a sentence that you've probably read in many Vim articles. And this is text editing at the speed of thought. Hopefully in the far future, we will have other input devices that will allow us to achieve such a goal with very little effort. But for the moment, I think the keyboard seems to be your best brain-to-computer interface option for text editing. I think the mouse and touch screens can have their use cases, but Vim allows us to avoid context switching and never have to leave our hands from the keyboard, which is great. To this goal, I would add text editing aligned with thoughts. My point with aligned with thoughts is that I want to avoid having to internalize and mechanize weird key combinations as much as possible. And to be honest, I think that Vim does more than a decent job in achieving so. Think about it. You can teach most of the commands just looking at them once. D for delete, R for replace, B for back, E for end, U undo, P for paste, O for open a new line, and so on. I mean, some concepts behind these keys are rather complex and powerful, but I don't think that they could be better aligned with the way we think. We should strive to keep this characteristic. Having a clear and short path from thought to execution should be key within our editing goals. We should aim for easy to teach and easy to adopt mechanics. For me, the way to achieve this alignment is mnemonics. I want that anyone could learn the way I use Vim after just looking at it once. But we will leave that for future, more in-depth videos. In this video, we're just going to focus on the core configuration. Backward compatibility is also an important thing. I don't want people to forget whatever they already know, and knowledge should always be improved and reused. So my configuration tries to be as less intrusive as possible, and to respect all the default Vim key bindings. Let's get started. First, we are going to create a clean and empty Arch Linux container, so we can install Vim and its configuration from scratch. You don't need to do this in your system. I'm going to create the container with backstrap. Then we're going to allow root login. Not that this is recommended, I just want to have a minimal system available so that we can download the required tools. Finally, we launch the Arch Linux container. Now we can install Vim. We will also need Git. Once we have Vim and Git, we can launch Vim and run the plug install command, which will download and install the required plugins, and it should just take a few seconds. To manage all these different plugins, we will be using Vim plug, but the important thing is the idea behind the tools, not the tools themselves. So feel free to use any other tool or replace one plugin with another, or use plain vanilla Vim functionality. We should also install Node.js and Node Package Manager if we want to use the autocomplete and syntax functionality offered by Conquer of Completion plugin. Okay, we are ready to start. Let's have a look at our Vim RC. The configuration is relatively minimal. I would love to replace as much as possible with out-of-the-box functionality, but so far these are the plugins that have allowed me to move towards my text at the speed of thought and align with it goal. Let's quickly overview the user interface additions. First, we have a color scheme that I like. Next, we have something more interesting. I find it very useful to work with multiple split windows, but I miss being able to dive into full screen for a given split and then being able to zoom out. This plugin allows us to achieve so. Let me quickly show you. I'm going to open a split, and now I can zoom in and zoom out back to the previous window configuration. This is very useful when working with multiple files within a project. For example, here I open a file, I can zoom in and then zoom out. Okay, let's move to the next plugin. This plugin allows us to have a more comfortable scrolling motion. It's just a small user experience addition, but I like to scroll this way when I'm exploring text that I don't know its structure very well. Finally, we have the power bar, which enhances the aesthetics and information shown in the bottom bar. Okay, let's move now to the core tools. There are many different plugins and out-of-the-box functionality to achieve these same results, but the core idea is to have some tools that let us do the following. We need some core basics, which include some way of file navigation, file explorer, and file content search, as well as clipboard management. For more advanced tools, we would need to have some kind of version control and Undotree History. Div tool is also very useful, and I really like to have language processor integration with the languages that I'm working with. The first plugin that we have is a great plugin to work towards the text align with thoughts goal. We will see with the following tools how this works. Let's check the next one, a file navigation tool. No matter what you choose to implement this tool, it should at least provide a way to edit the most recent files and a way to edit files within the project. With Arpeggio, we can define the following key bindings: edit recent with E plus R and edit project with E plus P. If we press E plus R, we get this nice search box where we can fuzzy find for the most recent used files. Here's another good sample of the power of mnemonics and keystroke optimization achieved with Arpeggio. The traditional way to move around splits in Vim is using Ctrl W followed by H, J, K, L. This requires two simultaneous keys, Ctrl and W followed by another key, H, J, K, L. With Arpeggio, we can do that in just one combination, W, which stands for window, plus HJKL. To close, we can simply do WQ for Windows quit. With this, we have simplified the mnemonic. We don't need to press now Control, and we have also increased the speed because we don't need to do two keystrokes. We can do everything at once. Okay, let's go back to the plugin definition file. And now let's edit a file within the project, pressing E plus P. There are different ways to define what constitutes a project, but by default it's defined by a Git repository. So if we are within a file which lies within a Git repository and we press E plus P, we will be able to edit any file within that repository. This covers the basics of file navigation. Let's move now to the file explorer. The first mnemonic is explorer locate, X plus L. It opens the explorer at the file's location. This is very useful when we get lost in a project and we want to relocate the explorer to the file position. Sometimes we want to explore the root of the project, and for that we can simply do explore project with X plus P, and this will jump the explorer location to the root of the project. Now we move into file content searching. We will first need to install a search tool. I like to use ripgrep. Now that we have ripgrep installed, we can quickly search for strings within files. The mnemonic is search in project with S plus P. And we can also search in file with S plus F. The plugin that I'm using for the search functionality has a very cool feature, and is that we can directly edit the search buffer, and the changes take effect on the files. Next we have a version control tool. I'm using Vim Fugitive. We will explore this tool in more detail in the future. Another core thing is working with our clipboard. The Yank registers are a very powerful tool in Vim, but they are not so aligned with the way we usually think. I like to use a Yank ring approach. We can basically navigate through our Yanks after we paste them using Ctrl-N for next and Ctrl-P for previous, which are also the same key bindings that we use for autocompletion. For autocomplete and syntax, I use the Conquer of Completion Vim plugin, which works quite well out of the box for Python and TypeScript. I've also tested with C++, and adding a language processor is quite easy with this plugin. The next core functionality is a way to explore our edit history. The mnemonic is Undo History Open, so U plus O. This opens a Undo History tree navigation that can allow us to easily explore the different changes that we have done in the file. In Vim, we can repeat operations with the dot operator. This is quite powerful, and this plugin allows to extend this functionality to other plugins. So with regular Vim, if we do, for example, change in word, and we write a new word, when we navigate to a new position, we can repeat the operation just by pressing dot. This doesn't work with operations provided by plugins, and this is what this plugin extends. For example, if we do a plugin-based operation such as add surrounding in Word, and we now go to a different location and press dot, it repeats the operation. Another core tool is a way to compare differences within text. With this tool, we can compare whole files, but also small sections. For example, we can highlight this part and compare it with this other part. Let's go back. Finally, I have here another navigation tool based on the popular FCF, which the only thing that I'm actually using is the line navigation, as most of the other functionality I have it already implemented with a different plugin. Ctrl-P is the one that we have seen before. Okay, so let's sum up. We have arpeggio to create combined key bindings, which allow us to create powerful mnemonics. For the file navigation, we have E plus R for edit recent and E plus B for edit in project. For the file explorer, we have explore open, which opens the file explorer, explore locate, which locates a file within the explorer, and explore project, which navigates to the project root location. For the file content search, we have S plus P for searching project and S plus F, searching file. Then we have a version control tool and a clipboard management with a yank ring that allows to loop through the different yanks very easily. Then we have autocompletion and syntax tool, the undo history, and the repeat changes and fuzzy line navigation. With this, we have covered the basic functionality. For future videos, I'm planning to cover with more detail the basics of Vim and also other plugins that I'm using to extend the Vim operators as well as text objects. Yeah, but we will leave that for the future. So for the moment, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.